coming now right over top of me, and it was quiet. It didn't make any noise.
Videos on social media showing mysterious drones flying over a Southern California community, strikingly similar to unusual flights on the East Coast that are getting national attention. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. There is confusion and concern tonight about those drones seen flying over neighborhoods in Temecula, southeast of Los Angeles. Similar sightings have been happening in New Jersey since last week. Fox 11's Christy Fajardo spoke with people in Temecula about what they saw.
Yeah, the Biden administration says multiple agencies, including the FBI, are investigating the sightings across the country, but says it's possible much of what is being reported are actually manned aircraft. But people around here say they are used to seeing helicopters and all sorts of planes from nearby Camp Pendleton, and what they witnessed, they say, was quiet. And one man says he has a video to prove it.
I think the public has a right to know what is flying above the skies and what the purpose is.
This is what Brian Dirk saw over his Temecula backyard yesterday evening, but he's not the only one who saw it. There are multiple social media videos just like his from South Riverside County, and listen closely. Witnesses say whatever it was didn't make a sound.
We saw two that came directly overhead our backyard in South Temecula here, and then we've seen a bunch across the horizon.
I looked up because it was coming now right over top of me, and it was quiet. It didn't make any noise.
Melinda Peters saw them last night too in Temecula, which is a mountain range away from Camp Pendleton. The Marine Base sent a written statement that reads in part, "We are aware of the drones that are flying over Temecula. They are not associated and do not impact Camp Pendleton's training and operations." But the base command did not elaborate on who might be flying them.
I don't think that it's regular off-the-shelf drones that are being flown around, at least here. Based on what we saw, it was a pretty good size, almost the size of like maybe a smaller vehicle, a car.
It's similar to videos taken in the skies above New Jersey last month.
Yeah, that's no plane.
Prompting security concerns and this response from the Biden administration.
These are not U.S. military drones. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
But in Temecula, people we spoke with say they are certain they saw drones and just want to know if a business or a government agency or who else might be behind them.
You would think that they'd let people know, so that because like I said, it's become this big thing.
So Camp Pendleton says it wasn't them. We're also nearby the Cleveland National Forest, so we reached out to the U.S. Forest Service. They say it wasn't them either. So Cal Edison does confirm they were flying drones yesterday, but near Murrieta and Menifee and not after dark, so you can rule them out as well. The one agency, though, we have not heard back from is the FAA. In Temecula, Christy Fajardo, Fox 11 News.
And the FBI and other agencies are investigating those drone sightings that have been happening in New Jersey. It remains unclear tonight whether they're also looking into the sightings in Southern California. The Las Vegas community tonight is mourning the loss of a police officer killed in a crash as he drove home after his shift. Law enforcement gathered today for a procession honoring Officer Colton Pulsifer. Officer Pulsifer was off duty when a wrong-way driver plowed into several cars on Interstate 15 early this morning. The officer was driving home in his personal car when the crash happened. Investigators say the wrong-way driver, who has not been identified, was also killed in the crash. Officer Pulsifer had been with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department since 2017. He's survived by his wife and 3 children. We have an update tonight on that destructive wildfire that continues to burn in Southern California. Calmer winds are helping crews to make progress on the Franklin fire. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf reports tonight that some people who evacuated days ago are now being allowed to return back home.
Clouds and a misty rain falling in Malibu, where just 2 days ago the Franklin fire roared. Crews on the ground taking advantage, increasing containment Thursday to 20%.
Effective immediately, some of the mandatory evacuation orders will be lifted in some of the areas.
Some of the roughly 20,000 residents once under evacuation orders now able to return home.
I don't want to go anywhere. You're kind of in a state of shock where you don't even want to leave your house, you know, because it was so close to going down that you don't want to go very far.
Rivers and Asher red clay never left.
It was super crazy, and seeing just the fire coming over the ridge.
This video shows them running to fight the blaze with garden hoses as flames surround their family's farm.
There was a couple small structures, storage structures that were burnt. Other than that, I mean, we're happy to be here.
At least 6 homes destroyed, 4 others damaged, many in the Sweetwater Canyon area.
We briefly lost power at our Sweetwater pump station. Those 22 customers that are located on Sweetwater Canyon Drive, Ridgemont Drive, and Beckledge Terrace have received boil water notices.
Investigators out collecting evidence in a taped-off section of Malibu Canyon looking for what ignited the fire.
They are still actively out there working on that, and it is still under investigation.
We're camping. We're playing cards.
Thousands still without power in Malibu, many anxious for the recovery process to begin and to get back home.
I'm asking for trust. I'm asking for patience. And I promise the community that we are working as hard as we can on this.
Reporting in Malibu, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
10 people convicted of nonviolent crimes here in the West have been pardoned by President Biden. Their cases are spread out over 8 western states. 3 of them are in Washington. These pardons are part of the largest single-day act of clemency in modern history. In total, 39 people across the country have been pardoned, and roughly 1,500 more have had their sentences commuted. The president issued a statement today saying in part, quote, "I have the great privilege of extending mercy to people who have demonstrated remorse and rehabilitation, restoring opportunity for Americans to participate in daily life and contribute to their communities, and taking steps to remove sentencing disparities for nonviolent offenders, especially those convicted of drug offenses." It may be months until we find out how an appeals court rules on Idaho's strict abortion ban. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals heard arguments this week about the law, which makes it a felony for doctors to perform an abortion unless it's necessary to save the mother's life. 2 years ago, the Biden administration sued Idaho over the ban, arguing it violates a federal rule requiring hospitals to provide emergency medical care, including life-saving abortions. The U.S. Supreme Court reviewed the case earlier this year, but sent it back to the lower court without resolving any of the constitutional questions. Officials in Arizona are looking at ways to speed up the counting of ballots. As Fox 10's Brian Webb explains, a political battle is now shaping up over a bill that's meant to streamline that process.
It took Arizona until November 15th to finish counting ballots, 10 days after the election and long after most other states had finished. So now a new plan to speed up the process. Election workers count ballots round the clock, but quickly fall behind other states to complete the task.
Better safe than sorry. Give me an exact vote.
If Florida can count twice as many votes in half the time, it's wrong.
Just taking the time to verify and make sure everything's accurate. I don't see a problem with that.
Now a new proposal to speed up the process, a new bill with new rules introduced by Republican Warren Peterson.
Almost all the other states are able to do it. We can do it too.
Peterson says the measures address the 2 main hiccups: a new cutoff to drop off early mail-in ballots to Friday 7 p.m. before Election Day, and early in-person voting will require a state ID and signature instead of stuffing it into an envelope.
Right now, when you vote early in person, you're putting your ballot into an envelope, and then later on somebody has to signature verify and open up the envelope. So we're taking that process away.
The November ballot came on 2 pages, covered 265 contests, and included nearly 250,000 early ballots dropped off on Election Day. State lawmaker Annalise Ortiz calls this manufactured outrage by Republicans.
It looks like it has the nice excuse of, let's go ahead and speed up the election results. But I'm just not buying it, because if a single voter is turned away or discouraged from waiting in line, that means that they are not making their voice heard. And in a democracy, everyone should have free and fair and easy access to make their voice heard.
This bill would also give you 2 extra days to mail in early ballots. it will probably take at least a couple of months if this bill gets to the governor's desk. In Phoenix, Brian Webb, Fox 10 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, a Washington community's dark past gets the attention of movie makers. Tonight we'll take you to the island town where people plotted a race war. Plus, it looks like piles of garbage, but this is really a massive stash of illegal marijuana. Tonight we'll break down how investigators discovered the drugs worth more than $100 million.
And in weather, here's our live camera up in Seattle. Lots of cloud cover, reports of some mist, and a current temperature of 45 degrees. We're tracking some rain for parts of the West Coast, and we'll have the forecast update coming up.
Authorities in Southern California seized more than $100 million worth of drugs during a major bust. San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies say they found 3,000 trash bags, all stuffed with marijuana. They came across the bags on Monday while executing a search warrant on a 5-acre property in Oak Hills. It took law enforcement 2 days to remove all those bags. They were stacked as high as 12 feet and weighed a total of more than 90,000 pounds. So far, there are no reports of any arrests being made in this case. Oregon became the first state to legalize the use of psilocybin back in 2020, but now advocates and practitioners are pushing for a law to improve the current model that allows adults to use the psychedelic compound. Fox's Spencer Schott is in Portland with more.
Now, this new bill would allow for dual licensure. Currently, psilocybin facilitators who hold licenses for medical or therapy reasons aren't allowed to use those skills while working with their psilocybin patients. Now, supporters of this new bill said it would really streamline the treatment they can provide. In a psilocybin treatment center in Northwest Portland, client Steve Dow is getting ready for his 5th psilocybin treatment session.
Off and on for years, I'll call it traditional psychotherapy. And sometimes you feel like you reach a point where talk therapy has done what it can do, and sometimes you need something else.
Dow has been traveling to Portland from San Francisco for these treatments since August, and he says these sessions have gotten him to a place traditional therapy couldn't.
I feel it has absolutely been positive change. My family sees it.
Dow's psilocybin facilitator is Olivia Hicks, who's also a licensed naturopathic doctor.
I want my patients to have every option available to them.
But during psilocybin sessions, like with Dow, Hicks has to take off her doctor hat and only work as a psilocybin facilitator.
Sharing with her what's going on, so she'll take some notes, she'll make some observational notes, things like that, which again helps, afterwards help me integrate and better think about the experience I just had.
But if Dow had additional issues that needed to be addressed, that would take many extra steps.
So if I have a client who comes to me who has a complicated health history or mental health history or is on a number of different medications, I can't advise them on those things as a psilocybin facilitator. So I have to see them in my medical practice, have them fill out all of my paperwork, again, have a totally different appointment, be in a different system for me to consult.
The Psilocybin Services Improvement Bill would remove those extra steps and allow folks like Hicks to facilitate, diagnose, treat, and prescribe all under one roof.
With other medical and therapy type practices, where often the scopes of those practices have a lot of overlapping features, and you can act as both at the same time in a way that's much easier than this is.
Making these sessions more streamlined for both the facilitator and the patient.
It's highly regulated here in Oregon, so there's a lot of paperwork to fill out.
The Health Advocacy Fund has not announced who will be sponsoring this bill in the upcoming legislative session, but they are confident that they have legislative support. Reporting in Northwest Portland, Spencer Schott, Fox 12 Oregon.
All right, turning now to our weather here in the west, and we are expecting that snow will continue piling up in the Sierra tonight. Here is a live look at the conditions right along Interstate 80 near Soda Springs. And from this live picture, you can see a lot of snow coming down right now. This system dumped a lot of snow all across the west and especially in the Sierra earlier today. Now, people are being advised to not travel through this area until the weather clears up. But obviously, you can see from this shot, there are cars and big rigs obviously making their way here along Interstate 80 tonight. But hopefully everyone taking it slow with all that snow that's coming down. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the weather all across the west. And you have more, Mark, on the snow and how much we're expecting up in the mountains.
Yeah, more Sierra snowfall, Alex. In fact, they have a winter weather advisory until 10 o'clock tonight. We're expecting snowfall with this first system upwards of a foot, but a stronger storm that definitely should get some attention. That'll be moving in, especially Friday night and into Saturday. So winter storm warning moves in, and snowfall could be around 1 to 3 feet across parts of the Sierra, so we are adding to the base. As far as some more winter weather advisories, as you can see up in the Pacific Northwest out toward the Cascades, we do have a winter weather advisory in place, and also out toward the shoreline, we have a coastal flood advisory. We have some king tides out there and also a bit of some swell, and we're also showing you that same advisory for portions of Northern California down toward the San Francisco Bay Area. But there's another storm developing, and this will generate some more rain and some wind, especially by Friday night and into Saturday for parts of the West Coast. For the Bay Area, those numbers really adding up. You see the amounts targeting portions of the North Bay, maybe upwards of 4 to 5 inches down towards San Jose. Could be on either side of an inch. So here's the radar imagery over California. There's all the green showing up here, and of course all the snowfall out toward the Sierra. As we back out the maps right now, you can still see the satellite. And it is fairly quiet down in Southern California and also out toward Arizona. But our next system is developing out here in the Pacific. We'll be watching out for that later Friday and into Saturday. In Seattle today, this was a scene, lots of cloud cover, trace amounts of rainfall. We've been seeing a lot of mist reports throughout the day. Temperature of 46 degrees. San Francisco, this is looking out toward the Golden Gate earlier today. They picked up nearly an inch of rain over the past 24 hours. And if you want the sunshine, we can show you that as well. In Phoenix, temperatures in the mid-70s with lots of blue sky showing up in this picture from earlier today. Here's the rainfall forecast model. As you can see, those colors really blossoming over Northern California, also up in the Pacific Northwest. But out down towards Southern California, not too much activity for LA and also out toward Arizona. So here is the plan for tomorrow for your Friday. Rainfall becoming likely in Seattle. Chance of some rain for San Francisco. It's a nice forecast for Los Angeles and also out toward Phoenix, and more sunshine in the Denver area with temperatures in the 40s. So here's the forecast model. Once again, that storm is getting its act together. This is tomorrow morning. This is tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. We have the rain and the snowfall, and you'll notice it really pushes into Northern California late Friday night and into a Saturday morning. So that'll definitely bring in a blast of some more rain back in the forecast for parts of the west. Other areas remain dry. So the unsettled wet weather for San Francisco and for Seattle. We have the dry weather, just a few visiting clouds, temperatures mainly in the upper 60s to lower 70s out in the Phoenix area. But Alex, I guess the storm door has opened, and the next one is developing offshore.
All right, yeah, more to come. Mark, thank you. Work is underway at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas that may help small communities across the West cope with drought conditions. Fox 5's Les Crittenden shows us the new ways that researchers are trying to recycle wastewater.
As the western U.S. enters its 23rd year of drought, communities that rely on Colorado River water have had to get creative.
It's just a paradigm shift, right? We used to look at wastewater as something dirty, something we need to get rid of. But now, we have to look at wastewater as a possible source of water supply.
Here in the Las Vegas Valley, we already recycle almost all the water we use indoors, but that infrastructure is too expensive for smaller towns.
We are finding ways to make water affordable for our rural communities.
Dr. Ikala Khan and his team of engineering grad students think they have found a small-scale solution to a much larger problem. It's a new way to clean water.
So this is biochar, one of the major filter material that we're going to use in our treatment. So biochar is something that is less expensive than most media for water and wastewater treatment.
Dr. Khan tells us biochar is cheap and easy to produce. They just burn agricultural waste like corn and rice husks at extremely high temperatures. The end product is not only ultra-absorbent, it's also good for the water.
And that's the job of the biochar, is to remove major contaminants. Also, it can recover nutrients. One of the major components in in wastewater is nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and we want to recover these nutrients.
Biochar is just one piece of the engineering puzzle. The UNLV engineering team has also developed a sustainable solar-powered distillation unit. They hope to begin lab testing next year, followed by field testing. Les Griffin, Fox 5 News, local Las Vegas.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, an island community here in the West with a troubling past. Tonight, locals share the island's history with white supremacy that is now the focus of a Hollywood thriller.
We were aware that the FBI was here and that they had a house under surveillance at Smuggler's Cove.
Los Angeles County just released some new figures showing reported hate crimes were at an all-time high last year. Between 2022 and 2023, reports went up 45% overall. Gender-based crimes jumped by 142%. Crimes based on religion increased by 90%. Crimes based on sexual orientation went up by 48%. And racial, ethnic, or nationality-based crimes saw an 18% jump. A new movie starring Jude Law calls attention to the real-life story of white supremacists who plotted to start a race war from a small community north of Seattle. Fox 13's Lauren Donovan spoke with people on Whidbey Island about their community's dark past.
Whidbey Island, a seaside haven worthy of the big screen. They shot practical magic here, but you may not know a far more sinister plot, a real-life thriller unfolded here. One now captivating audiences across the country.
I had a question about some flyers I keep seeing. White power. Is that the Aryan Nation?
Yep, that's Jude Law, one of the stars of the new feature film, The Order, about a neo-Nazi group of the same name that was holed up right here on Whidbey Island back in the 1980s.
We were aware that the FBI was here and that they had a house under surveillance at Smuggler's Cove.
The Island County Historical Museum opened up its collection of news clippings to us, detailing the FBI sieges and arrests that followed as the Aryan Nation splinter group embarked on a crime spree to bankroll its plans for a race war and overthrowing the federal government. The movie is drawing the curious back to places like Smuggler's Cove, where the Order's leader, played by Nicholas Hoult, met a fiery end.
But we don't know. We didn't know a lot about the people who are here.
After Matthews died the next year and several years following that, his followers came to honor him.
Amid today's supercharged political tensions, do residents of Whidbey want attention on this, as the dark past of this island community is front and center in the Hollywood spotlight? Reporting on Whidbey, Lauren Donovan, Fox 13 News.
All right, that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always. And a quick reminder before we go tonight, you can stay up to date on all the big stories we continue following for you across the West at our website. It's westcoastwrap.com. And remember to stream our shows on your smart TV. All you need to do is download the free Fox Local app to do just that. That does it for us tonight. Have a great one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.